Hello, welcome to this webinar. Today's topic, at risk for foodborne illness, food safety for mature adults. Today, we will discuss how you can reduce your risk for foodborne illness. As we age, our bodies go through changes that make us more likely to get sick from foodborne illness and more likely to have complications that are sometimes associated with these diseases. Why are we more at risk? Our digestive system may not absorb nutrients as well as it once did. We may not eat enough foods or enough healthy choices for food. We may have existing health problems like diabetes, cancer, or heart disease that affects our general well-being. We may be less able to fight off infections because our immune system may not work as well as it did when we were younger. These conditions make us more susceptible to foodborne illness and more likely to have complications. The good news is that foodborne illness can be prevented through proper food handling. It is hard to know exactly how many cases of foodborne illness occurs every year because some cases clear up on their own and people never see their doctor. These cases never get reported. Estimates are that there are up to 85 million cases per year in the US, with about 325,000 requiring hospitalization and 5,000 resulting in death. In a recent study, researchers asked mature adults what concerned they most what concerned them most about the safety of their food. They were concerned about general cleanness, microorganisms, food storage, cooking, and eating out. They were particularly concerned about cleanliness in both at home and in restaurants and grocery stores. They were concerned about their food being handled by people who had not washed their hands and about the cleanness of surfaces used to prepare and serve their foods. They were also concerned about germs and microorganisms that might be in their food and make them ill. Some were concerned about how their food had been stored and how long food had stayed out of the refrigerator. They also were concerned that food prepared for them might not be truly cooked. Some mentioned the safety of taking doggy bags home from restaurants and their concern over how long they were left out of the refrigerator. Also, in this study, researchers learned that even though mature adults knew about safe food handling practices, they did not always refrigerate foods properly or use meat or food thermometers to check the temperature of foods. So, are you going to be eating out? What should you look for when it comes to keeping your food safe? Look at restaurant health scores. If it's below 80, choose another restaurant. Observe the cleanliness of the establishment. If tables, dinnerware, or bathrooms are dirty, go somewhere else. Order foods that are well done, piping or steaming hot. Handle the doggy bath safely. Go directly home, eat within 2 hours, or refrigerate immediately. If the food is delivered to your home, keep them safe by keeping hot food hot, that means 140 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter, or eating within 2 hours. If the food cannot be eaten within 2 hours, then you should refrigerate it and plan to heat it back up before serving. foods that have been refrigerated and chilled should be heated until an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit is reached for solid foods like roast, meatloaves, etc. Liquid foods like soup or sauces should reach a rolling boil when reheated. If you heat foods in the microwave oven, cover the dish and rotate it halfway through the cycle. This will help the food to heat more evenly and avoid cold spots. When you purchase cold foods or have cold foods delivered to your home, you should either eat them immediately or refrigerate them immediately for eating at a later time. Keep cold foods at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. It is always important to remember the 2-hour rule. If perishable foods have been at room temperature for more than 2 hours, throw them away. It is not worth the risk of getting sick from bacteria that may have been in the food and multiplied to high numbers while sitting at room temperature. There are 4 steps to keeping food safe. You have control over what happens to the food in your home. The first step is keeping food safe is to clean. That means washing your hands before you touch food, after handling raw foods, after going to the bathroom, and any time you have touched something that could have been contaminated your hands with germs. And remember, they are everywhere. To wash hands correctly and thoroughly, use this 6-step process. First step, wet hands under warm running water. Second step, apply soap. Third step, rub hands together vigorously, paying special attention to fingernails. Fourth step, wash for at least 20 seconds. Fifth step, rinse thoroughly with warm running water. Sixth step, dry with a clean paper towel or clean cloth. It is also important to keep your kitchen clean. Countertops, cutting boards, table, equipment, and utensils. Any surface that will come in contact with the foods you eat. Surfaces should be washed with hot water and soap and rinsed after prepping each food item and before going on to the next food item. This will help to prevent harmful bacteria from being left behind to contaminate another food or ingredient. Sanitizing is a method of cutting down on the number of disease-causing microorganisms that might be lurking in your kitchen. After cleaning, as we just talked about, apply a mixture of 1 teaspoon chlorine bleach per quart of water. This mixture can be put in a spray bottle or wiped on a paper towel. It should be made fresh each day so it does not lose its strength as the chlorine evaporates. The second step to keeping food safe is to separate. Keep raw meats, poultry, fish, seafood, and eggs away from other foods. This also means that raw meats in the refrigerator should be stored so they can't drip on other foods. Store them on the bottom shelf or in the meat drawer. Place cooked foods on clean plates, not on plates that held raw food. If raw juices get back onto cooked foods, bacteria in the raw juices will get back into your food you just cooked. The third step in keeping food safe is to cook thoroughly. Use a clean food thermometer to check the internal temperature of the food when you think it should be done. Insert it into the thickest part of the food, away from any bones. Cook until the food reaches the recommended safe internal temperature. If you are using a microwave oven, allow the food to sit in the oven once the cook cycle has ended for as long as the directions list for the stand time. This time is part of the cooking process as the temperature continues to rise and heat is transferred from hotter spots to colder spots. The first step in keeping food safe is to chill. Keep a refrigerator slash freezer thermometer in your refrigerator and your freezer. If your power goes out, you will be able to tell exactly how hot or warm it gets in your appliances. Refrigerate food at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. Freeze foods at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. Divide large amounts of food into shallow containers for quicker cooling. Remember to chill, even when you thaw. The safest way to thaw foods is to move them from the freezer to the refrigerator ahead of time. Don't have time to do that? Didn't remember to do it ahead? Then another option is to thaw the foods by placing the package in cold water. If you use this method, change the water every 30 minutes so that it stays cold. This prevents the surface of the food from becoming so warm that bacteria starts multiply before the inside is thawed. If you thaw in the microwave oven, you will need to go ahead and cook the food right after thawing. Foods thawed in this manner heat up so faster that the food will pass in and out of the danger zone too many times if you refrigerate it or cook it later. There are some foods that mature adults should just avoid. They are raw or undercooked fish, shellfish, meat, or poultry, raw or unpasteurized milk or soft cheeses, raw or lightly cooked eggs, raw sprouts, unpasteurized fruit or vegetable juices, hot dogs or deli meats unless reheated steaming hot. These foods can contain harmful bacteria in amounts that can make you ill. Thank you so much for your attention. See you next time.